Hi, Jim. Just waiting for Chris and or Dave.
That's all right. Good morning.
Good
Morning.
morning.
How are you all?
Good. How are you?
It's Monday at 9
Yeah,
o'clock.
it's snowing.
Been a long weekend. We had some wild and wacky guests.
Oh, lovely.
Do, 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 do.
I'm just going to forward the link to Dave's personal email. He might be having some trouble logging on. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, hopefully in just a few moments. Oh, there he is. Perfect.
Yay.
Okay.
Do, 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 do.
Okay.
All right. We don't have Chris, but we can still move forward.
Okay. Hi, Dave.
Yes,
Morning.
good morning. Morning.
Okay, so we don't have Chris with us this morning, but we'll go ahead and just move forward with the meeting. So this is our Finance Committee meeting. It is May 18th, 2026. The time is 9:06. I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order with Jim Harper and Dave Brown present.
Present.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off today going over a draft timeline as we're entering our 2027 budget season, just to go over some key dates and yeah, just the timeline that we'll be working with. Um, so in July is when things will really start getting going. So at our July 20th Finance Committee meeting, we'll hit the ground running with budget planning. And we'll have a bit more of an update on the audit, but the aim is to have the audit complete and signed, submitted by July 31st. And then in August, the plan is to start holding budget sessions with department heads and getting their needs and wants. And then at that August Finance Committee meeting, August 17th, is when we can you really dive into planning for capital improvements in 2027. And then if we, depending on what surplus is projected for 2027, get into conversations about utilizing surplus for, funding nonprofits or additional capital improvements. So that'll be a good discussion there. My hope is to have an open town hall meeting, a state of the town presentation in August. And certainly budget will be a focus of that conversation. And then as we're getting into September, is when, circling back with the finance committee and reviewing the draft 2027 budget. And then at that same time, probably hosting a work session with the full board to discuss staff requests and help trustees prioritize all the various requests that would be coming in from staff. October, we'll be hosting a joint budget meeting with the county to discuss shared services and our IGA. And then at our October meeting is when we'd have the regular meeting, the draft 2027 budget presented to the trustees. Our draft budget is due by October 15th. So we'll just be getting in right at that timeline. Then in October, finalizing that draft budget with the finance committee. And in November, and this would be optional if we need it, early November, perhaps an additional work session if we need to talk through additional budget items or any unresolved issues or conversations. And then let's see here. I'm following kind of Gloria's cue from, I believe, last year, and hosting the public hearing on the budget in November, rather than what had traditionally been done. I'm hosting it in December, just to allow for, so we're not jamming things too closely together and we can really incorporate any comments from the public during that public hearing. So yeah, so certainly there'll be a bit of a crunch time in October, just getting that the draft budget ready for that public hearing.
That seemed to work well
Okay,
last year.
awesome.
Doing that public hearing in November. We didn't have really anybody come and have anything that was majorly wrong with the budget or say it, but it was good to have plenty of time. So definitely a good timeline.
Q&A is good.
With that.
Q&A is good. I agree.
Yes,
Yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Mayor.
Definitely. And yeah, I think whether it's in our via our newsletter or through social media posts, certainly try to implement sort of a budget 101 campaign of just keeping folks in the loop about where we're at and for transparency and involvement. And then our timeline would be adoption of the, oops, got a typo there, should be 2027 budget mid-December. So,
And we usually only have one meeting in December because the second one typically always falls like right around Christmas.
yeah,
And so we usually have one meeting in November for the same reason for Thanksgiving.
got it.
And so that last meeting in December, we'll just have, like, if you go back and you look at the last meeting from December last year, there's like 8 resolutions all there at the end. And it's the mill levy and the budget and the supplemental and all of that stuff that we'll just do all at the same time.
Okay, perfect.
And then we can get it all submitted to the state before the end of the year.
Okay, awesome. All right. So yeah, just a quick walkthrough of our upcoming schedule and key dates. And yeah, certainly if there are any questions or thoughts on this outline. Happy to hear any thoughts.
I have one question.
Mhm.
It's not about the outline because I think it's perfect. July 20th is a Monday. I'm assuming it's 9 a.m., which is fine. My question with regards to any sort of finance meeting, and I thought of the question when we were talking about the joint town county. Have we been able to reach out to them since Monday regarding a quick joint meeting for housing?
Yes, so I
Oh,
have
good.
reached out to the county, just waiting to hear back. And yeah, so I'll be following up this week with the county. They've asked for their preference on dates, what might work for them. So I'm optimistic we'll have some dates to present to the trustees this week.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other than that, I
Okay.
have no questions. No questions with the schedule.
Yeah, it's
Looks
it
good.
very much mirrors last year's schedule, so nothing out of the ordinary there. Okay.
Very happy.
All right, so moving on to February actuals. Well, first of all, you'll note that we're looking at February actuals, so we are behind on receiving actuals.
And
And
it sounds like Michelle should have some March ones for us this week, which is good. I think
Perfect.
just because the audit has been a little more complicated for them in past years, I think they've had to do a separate audit because we we spent more than $1 million in grant funding last year. And so our auditors and our accountants are having to do kind of a separate audit on just those funds and so they've just been, because Jim, you would know that typically we're receiving actuals just about a month behind, so we should be in April right now, Dave. But so we're in the midst of getting caught up on just these very general financial reportings.
No, these are good though.
Yeah, we've got February, March should be coming soon, and then I'm gonna get her some of the stuff from my end for April this week, so we should be caught back up by the next finance committee meeting.
So just to reiterate, the May reporting of 67,697 is actually for February.
No. Are you talking about sales tax?
Yeah.
No. That math I just did myself because I can pull
Oh.
that information from our bank statements.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Great.
And Elizabeth she wanted to know where we were with how much we've collected specifically from the 1% that we get back from the state. And so I are in Cassell, in the accounting software that we have all the way through March. And then I just went and pulled from our bank statements, April and May. So
Okay.
those numbers are up to date for that 1% sales tax.
For the 1% of the 15,000, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the
Um,
1% that we just get back from the state, and then
Right.
those numbers that you can see printed are both state and county.
And then the county 4% is what I had a question on, which is great. I mean, these numbers actually look a lot better than we thought.
yeah, so kind of let's see here. Let me just circle
I
back
mean, you're
as well.
down 25%, and then we're down 6%, but then we're actually up 12%.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
we're up again 3.75%. That's good.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, so kind of jumping into, the sales tax. So right now I have it broken out. You'll see that we have the two PDF files. There's the 1%, and Dave, just for your information, the town receives 5% total sales tax. 4% of that is routed through the county. 1% comes directly from the state. And so, so you can see that, despite, a tough December and January, that just as Jim was saying, we rebounded quite nicely. And for our total numbers for the year so far, we're down from last year, under 2%. So I think based on the first finance committee I was involved in February, when it was very much there was a lot of apprehension. These numbers are very encouraging just based on the tough winter that we had. Okay. So, yeah, and bouncing back to actuals real quick. So, we're February, very early in the year, for the information that we have right now, but, so far, on budget for most of our expenditures. And, again, as reflected in our sales tax, revenues are okay despite a tough winter. So yeah, any questions on actuals or sales tax? And if not, I will jump into kind of a closer look at our Kendall Mountain ski lift sales. So, oh. I think that was Jim for a second. He should be back. There he is. All right. You back with us, Jim?
Thank you guys. I was, yeah, it's a whole thing anyway. I'm here. We're all good.
Thank you.
Yeah, just before, I was just asking if there are any questions about actuals or our current sales tax numbers. And if not, I'll go ahead and move on to a closer look at Kendall Mountain lift sales for the year.
We're all good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So as we all know, Kendall was only open for 3 days this winter. So not a lot of opportunities for revenue this year. And looking at in the memo in the packet, you'll see our 2026 numbers versus 2025. So we're down, significantly, 3,800 versus roughly 45 for 2025. So just wanted to kind of paint that picture so we know, we know with our eyes wide open what we're looking at as far as what we're down at Kendall. I have been talking with Steve, and there are plans to be a bit more proactive with our fall, early winter season pass sales. And Steve is looking into, tabling at area and regional ski swaps. Certainly we're not going to make up that gap by promoting more aggressive promotion of fall sales, but it is the plan to at least make up some ground this fall.
Great.
Can I ask, again, just being totally uninformed, do you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, just being totally uninformed. So did the mountain actually, then this is just the revenue, did it operate at a loss? But where's the actual, numbers for the mountain? Were there operational costs that really put us in a hole here?
Yeah.
Well, the operational cost of Kendall is our employees, basically. It doesn't necessarily cost anything to open. I mean, it does cost us to open Kendall because we have to pass lift inspections and but other than general operation, which is mostly just staff time, which is budgeted for. Yeah.
Okay.
But Doc, you're asking about a line item? It sounds like you're asking about a line item.
Yeah. Yes.
Where you can measure profit and loss.
Exactly.
That's what it sounds like you're asking.
I look at things as a profit or loss center, not blending the numbers across the entire spectrum of operations. Was there resources that were allocated to the mountain that we were just losing money on, specifically for the mountain itself, or for the Kendall ski itself, that we would have to be considering going forward, in terms of pricing of tickets, for instance? What if we had another bad snow year? You know, how much is just the baseline operational costs when it's not actually operating? I guess that's a question.
Yeah. Yeah, we can, now that we're at the end of the very short season, yeah, we can pull those numbers and do kind of a comprehensive look at, you know, the full season, December through March, April, typical average operating costs, what this year looked at, and then comparing those against what has been brought in. And yeah, I think we could schedule kind of a deeper conversation about, trigger points if, again, if we find ourselves in a really low snowpack year, if there is a tipping point where it becomes more expensive to operate, and we're continually losing at Kendall. I do think there is, also the angle of Kendall being just a tremendous resource, especially for our families in town, and having a place for kids to recreate. So that will certainly need to be part of that conversation.
So I think in general, I mean, unless we understand what it costs to operate it, we can't budget for what we would have to market, to make a profit on just that as a business, or produce, support the snowmaking, facility. And we need all that. We need all the, I think the numbers wrapped around the mountain itself to make an argument if we want to, improve the operations.
Well, and thankfully, not all of the operations rely on the ski lift running. I mean, for the entirety of the summer, Kendall is being rented to weddings and events, and that's bringing in revenue for Kendall Mountain also. That's going to the same line item, essentially. It's going to the Kendall Mountain recreation area.
And yeah, again, just when we talk about the winter season itself, and there's a lot of debate from what I can see of, why don't we just make more snow and keep it open longer and so forth. I think we just have to look at the ski portion and say, what does it take to justify, the operations for the ski lift, the snowmaking and so forth, and how do we have to again market and price the tickets? I think the only thing that came out is that there was an idea of a discount. I just looked at the agenda here, discounted season passes, but if we have no idea what it costs to operate, how do we know what that price is?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I'll get with Steve and because I haven't been through discussions about how the prices for season passes and ski lift tickets are set, and certainly, Melina, if
I know that he raised them last year. I can't remember if he did a cost analysis. He might have, and so I would just talk to Steve, because I know that we already did raise the prices quite a bit last year.
Yeah, so I'll go with Steve, and we'll be able to present, if the most recent increase, how that was determined, and if the full cost analysis was done. My assumption is it was, and then we can get back to you with that information, and the plan for 2027 ticketing pricing. It's based on, the numbers going into the season, and expected operation costs. If we do need to consider another price increase, or if we can maintain.
And John, is this something that's being reasonably considered to expand snowmaking, so we can, if we do have another bad winter, we can try to keep it open, a lot more than 3 days?
Yeah, I mean, me and Steve have talked several times about how we can make this a more feasible thing on dry years. We're still looking at where our water rights are, actually moving them, and that is possible with to relocate them so that we're trying to get our rights in there so we're not dependent on treated water. And I think a lot of it is going to depend on what we can find as far as used blowers. Because that's part of this is blowers to make that snow. The little trailer setup that we got, that Grady has helped us with last year, that one is great for like at the bottom of the hill, as where it comes into the lift. But when you get to the top, it's not the best.
Yeah,
So I mean, we're still working on, I know Steve had a lead on a couple of used blowers that Taos was trying to sell. And so we're still looking and trying to figure all that out.
okay. Yeah, I think that would want to be considered in the total cost of operations as well. Because the topic that people want to keep this open for the kids in the town, and it needs to be, my sense, it needs to be financially viable. We can't steal from, Paul in the summer to pay Peter in the winter and hope that that's going to work out for the best for everybody. But we just need like the best picture of what it would take, to keep the operations above a loss at a minimum, if that includes, capital expenses, and so we need a good picture of what it takes to operate that throughout the winter. Jim, any thoughts?
Oh, yeah. I was about to jump in. I didn't know if anyone else was going to jump in before me, so I was pausing. I know that there is a template for exactly what you're talking about, a true P&L for Kendall Mountain. I think we delved into that about 2 years ago, maybe 3, with Gloria.
I think,
And I'm sorry?
I think Sarah really dived into that when she was
Okay.
charged. So yeah, you're right, about 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. So the template exists because I don't want anyone to have to try to recreate the wheel. The template's there. There is an assumption, Doc, and I totally agree with you. You can't operate at a loss on a lot of things, but there is an absolute assumption with regards to the Kendall Mountain Ski Area that this is a community resource, and therefore it's not going to be, I guess, that cut and dry. I'm trying. I think I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah, I think you'll see my perspective on everything is start with the real numbers. Start with is it a loss or a profit, and then if we can fill in the gaps thereafter, do the best to do that, or find a way to fund it. But you just need to have the absolute, best financial picture you can to even make that decision.
Well, having a true P&L helps everybody.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, that's the answer right there.
Yeah.
Great. Well, yeah, we'll have that available, and yeah, especially as we're moving our way through summer, we'll circle back to this, and we can have a deeper discussion and just review of Kendall numbers. Okay. So barring any further questions about or discussion about Kendall, we can move on to generator purchase.
Hey, here we go. As we're talking about this, fire season coming up, talking about Kendall, maybe we could open this afternoon because we're getting good snow, finally.
Yeah. This will help with the bottom line.
I'm just being facetious. Excuse me. I just had to have a little fun there. So
John, I think it's great. A little bit of levity goes a long way. You know my motto.
You have to laugh about it. So anyway, I've continued to research generators. And I took a really deep dive into some auction ones, looking And it's just, I mean, I could buy a generator for $6,000 from Ritchie Brothers that's got 20,000 hours on it. And it just, in my opinion, that's a waste because I wouldn't be able to get anybody to service it. Knowing our luck, we'd use it for 10 hours and something would have to be replaced on it. So, and I also took a pretty deep dive into smaller generators, as far as like a 50 kW and a 75. And by the time, if you were to purchase two of them, you're actually spending more money than you are on just a regular 100 kW. So I'm still in the opinion of purchasing a 100 kW would be work for both the town and county for the purposes that we're looking at. I've been working closely with Wagner Equipment, and they finally found another one that didn't have 7,800 hours on it. This one's got about 5,800 hours, and the cost was cheaper than it was right at 82,000. The other one that I was looking at. Been with the county, and Pete, one of the commissioners, actually last week, which to my surprise took it to the county because it wasn't really on their agenda, and got it pushed through for their hat. And then he called me and said, tell us who to make the check out to. So they're ready to give the town a check for basically $29,635. So I went ahead and went into talking with Wagner. They sent me all the paperwork to finance the other half, which I think is reasonable at this point. We'll see how budgets end at the end of the year, and there's the possibility we could pay that down a little bit with some cost savings in some other GLs so that we're not paying interest long term. And so we would have to finance 29,635. I did talk with Delee last week. She's the one I work with through Wagner. They are the generator that I'm proposing. She's having them do a quick deep dive on it to make sure everything is in good working order if we move forward with this purchase. And the one thing with Wagner is if we have to do any repairs or service, they're 50 miles away. So it's not like I'm dealing with somebody in Denver or Albuquerque. I've got the resources a lot closer for us. Everything's pretty much spelled out in the memo as far as the budget impact, because we did not budget for this. But I think that with possible snowmaking operations in the future, knock on wood, I would rather have it come down natural. But and then, who knows? We already know we're facing a very dry year this year. Yeah. And what that looks like in the future also, I think, is kind of one of the reasons I'm continuing to push to get this purchase done before it goes away. So any questions, please, yell at me, whatever.
Doc, you got anything?
I don't have any questions. No, I like the idea and I like the financing, and I'm just sort of looking up over the balance sheet and everything else for the town as we're talking here. And it seems like this isn't going to put a big strain on us, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's a no-brainer.
I like it.
Okay. Cool.
Great. A question for you, John. So we, our next regular meeting will be June 8th, and we could have full board sign off on this.
Yes.
Does that work for your timing?
Yeah, I think we're still all right. I mean, here we are, what is it, the 18th today. I think, I'm still waiting to hear back after they go through the unit in Durango and make sure everything's good. I think what we could do is, I basically told Lee, put our name on it to hold it, and she was all right with that.
Okay.
Until all this goes through. I think we could wait till the 18th, and then in the meantime, I could get a hold of the county and say on June 9th, cut us a check and we get this going.
Okay.
So that, because her plans was to, if everything goes good with the unit itself and us, I mean, she'll have it sitting in Durango, and the 9th we could go down, hand them a check and put it on the back of a pickup and haul it back up here. So besides, we'll have all the paperwork ready and everything. So it works. I think it works timely.
Okay,
So
good.
That's great.
Great. All right, so we can move on to our final agenda item for this morning, an audit update.
Yeah, just a quick update for you. It's not really enough to put in a full memo, just because it's, short. Last I spoke with our accountant Lorraine on Wednesday, she said that the audit was moving along well. She said that the auditor, Jim Hinkle, submitted his draft of the audit to her on Monday, and that she had responded with some comments and requests, and that she would finish up her final review after he had a chance to reply sometime this week. So our audit should be getting wrapped up soon. It's been, I gave them a bunch of information back in March, and then haven't really heard a whole lot, but I guess they have what they need. And she says that it's moving along nicely, and that they should be done soon. So we should have, typically Lorraine comes up and does a presentation here in person. Sometimes Jim Hinkle will come as well, to do the final presentation to the board, which if they can get it done before the end of this month, maybe we could have them scheduled to come up in our June meeting to do their final, do their report. Any questions on audit?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so unless there are any other questions, any other packet items for discussion?
Doesn't have to take place right now, but just if someone could at some point sit down with, for 15 minutes and go over the balance sheet with me,
Yeah.
that'd be handy.
Yeah, I'll reach out. We'll schedule time to get that done.
Okay, thanks.
Is there anything else, Doc, you feel like you want as far as reporting to review? Because I think that's a great question.
Yeah, let's cut out more than 15 minutes. Let's do maybe 30 minutes, and Jim, if you wanted to be in there, we could just dig through the financials, the balance sheet, get me up to speed with everything.
Yeah.
And that would be a good start.
Yeah, and I would also, if you haven't already, for both you and Chris, even though I know he's not here at the moment, I would really, really encourage you to go back and watch as many finance committee meetings as you can.
Okay.
And as many of them on YouTube. Most of them are only about a half an hour. You can speed them up. You can listen to them while you're doing other things, and then all of those packet materials are also available on the town website too. So just to help get you, get a good picture of where we've been and where we are. And so, just all of those resources are online.
Okay, I will.
What I would also recommend to everyone, if you haven't done it, go on YouTube and review this past Wednesday's county meeting. It was about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 35 minutes. Really, really good, very insightful. And the reason why I bring it up is regarding potential mill levy and tax increases for Silverton, San Juan County. It's just great for just basic knowledge.
Was this a rehash of last year's, that was brought to vote for the increase that the county wanted?
This was a discussion about potential mill levy for the school, for the preschool.
Yeah.
And very insightful and very knowledgeable. Just the breakdown of how the discussions between the county commissioners and the attorney.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, it was good. And I would say that probably the first 40 minutes of that meeting is that.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you, Laura.
And yes, I'll reach out to both of you, and Melina, and we can set up a time to, review the balance sheet and, perhaps also, look at the 2026 budget, just for increased familiarity there.
Yeah, if we wanted to, if the Kendall, P&L template was available, maybe get a head start on looking at that, if that's.
Certainly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, unless there's anything else this morning, we can go ahead and conclude our finance committee meeting. It's 9:44, and yeah, thank you both for attending.
Great, thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for all
Thank
you're
you.
doing. Happy snow day.
Happy snow day.
All right.
Bye.